Disney published a 41-hour homework assignment for one movie, 15 titles, 2,475 minutes, an official Disney Plus collection with the name Countdown to Avengers Doomsday sitting on top of it. And most of it will not be on the test. The film opens in theaters on December 18, 2026. It is the fifth Avengers movie, directed by Anthony and Joe Russo, the brothers who made Infinity War and Endgame, and Marvel Studios announced its cast in a live stream on March 26, 2025, that ran for hours while one empty chair after another appeared with a name printed on the back. 27 actors came out of that stream. When the first full trailer went online on July 20, it took 503 million views in 24 hours, the biggest trailer launch Disney has ever had. That list tells you what to watch. It never tells you what any of it is for. And underneath all 15 titles there is one idea, 3 worlds, and one man in a metal mask. The idea was put on screen 4 years ago, in a scene most of the audience took for set dressing. In Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, released in 2022, Stephen Strange is thrown out of his own reality and lands on a world the film labels Earth 8038. He meets that world's ruling council of heroes, and they tell him what happened to their version of him. Their Strange used forbidden magic and caused an incursion. Another universe died, so his own friends executed him for it. Then, in the scene after the credits, a woman named Clea, a sorceress from the Dark Dimension, played by Charlize Theron, opens a portal in the middle of a New York street and tells Strange that he has caused an incursion of his own, and that he is coming with her to fix it. So what is an incursion? It is what happens when 2 separate realities drift into the same place at the same time. Not a portal, not a visit. 2 entire universes trying to occupy one spot, and physics refusing to allow it. The collision destroys both, unless somebody destroys one of them first, on purpose, to save the other. The moral question is not whether to fight, it is which billions of people you are willing to erase. That is the machinery of Doomsday, and Marvel's official synopsis for it is a single sentence. Beloved heroes from 3 distinct universes will be set on a deadly collision course and face an existential threat unlike anything they have ever encountered. Not 3 teams, 3 universes, and they are not meeting. They are colliding. So who is standing where when it happens? The first world is the reality you have been watching since 2008. In Marvel's numbering it is Earth 616, and it has changed more since Endgame than most viewers realize. Steve Rogers gave the shield away. Sam Wilson carries it now, and in Captain America Brave New World he carries it without a drop of super soldier serum in him, which is a very different job. Bucky Barnes is out of the shadows. Thaddeus Ross, the general who spent years hunting the Hulk, became President of the United States and then turned into the Red Hulk himself. Then there is Loki, and Loki matters more than his screen time suggests. At the end of his series, the timeline that held everything together came apart, and Loki walked to the center of it and took hold of the branches by hand. He is not a trickster in this story anymore. He is a load-bearing beam. Every alternate reality that exists in the MCU right now exists because one Asgardian is physically holding them apart. And who are the Avengers at this point? Technically nobody. The team dissolved. What exists instead is the group assembled by Valentina Allegra de Fontaine in Thunderbolts, Yelena Belova, Bucky Barnes, Alexei Shostakov the Red Guardian, Ava Starr the Ghost, and John Walker, the man who failed at being Captain America on camera. They fought a man named Bob Reynolds, whose power made him the Sentry, and whose despair made him the Void. And at the end, Valentina put them in front of a press conference and called them the new Avengers. That is who is answering the phone when the sky opens. Elsewhere on that same Earth, 3 loose threads are still hanging. Shuri rules Wakanda as the Black Panther after losing her brother and her mother. The 10 rings that Shang-Chi inherited from his father are broadcasting a signal to something nobody has identified, and Peter Parker asked Doctor Strange for a spell that went wrong, and pulled people in from other realities, which proved the walls were thin before anyone said the word incursion out loud. That is World 1. The Fantastic Four do not live on your Earth. The Fantastic Four First Steps takes place on a reality the film numbers Earth 828, a retro-futuristic 1960s where the space race never soured and the world's most famous celebrities are 4 scientists. Director Matt Shakman has confirmed the number is a tribute to Jack Kirby, the artist who co-created the team and who was born on August 28. On that world, Reed Richards, Sue Storm, Johnny Storm and Ben Grimm faced Galactus, a being who eats planets, and survived him. And Sue and Reed have a son. His name is Franklin Richards, and Galactus wanted the boy specifically, which tells you what the child is worth. Then the credits rolled, and the scene after them showed a hooded figure sitting in the Baxter building with the silver mask in his hands, and Franklin Richards calmly in his lap. That is World 2, and it has already been visited. World 3 is the strange one. For 19 years, from 2000 to 2019, the X-Men films were made by a different studio, in a continuity that never touched the Avengers. Those films are not a rumor in Doomsday. Marvel announced the actors by name: Patrick Stewart as Professor Charles Xavier, Ian McKellen as Magneto, James Marsden as Cyclops, Rebecca Romijn as Mystique, Alan Cumming as Nightcrawler, Kelsey Grammer as Beast, Channing Tatum as Gambit. And here is where you should be careful, because a lot of videos are not. Marvel has confirmed the actors. Marvel has not confirmed which versions of these characters they are playing, or which reality those characters are standing in. Anyone telling you they know is guessing. What is on the record is what the trailers show, and Variety's description of the footage shown at D23 is blunt. Dr. Doom, against Mr. Fantastic, against the X-Men, against the Avengers, with an army of Sentinels behind him. Sentinels are the mutant-hunting robots from the X-Men films. In the trailer, they are working for someone else now. Which finally brings us to the man in the mask. Victor Von Doom first appeared in the comic Fantastic Four number 5, cover dated July 1962, created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. He is the ruler of Latveria, a small invented country in Eastern Europe, and he holds that throne outright, which means that when Doom attacks you, you are not being attacked by a criminal. You are being attacked by a head of state. 2 things separate Doom from every other villain in this franchise, and both of them are unusual. The first is that he is a scientist and a sorcerer at the same time. Every other genius in Marvel picks a lane. Doom builds the machine and then casts the spell on it, and he is world-class at both. The second is subtler, and it is the engine of the whole character. Victor Von Doom was the second smartest man in the room, once, in a college laboratory, and the smartest was Reed Richards. Doom built a machine anyway. It exploded, it scarred his face, and every single thing he has done since has been an argument that the wrong man was chosen. Thanos wanted to fix the universe by subtraction. Doom is not offering that. Doom's position is that existence is being run badly by people less qualified than he is, and that he could do it properly if they would simply get out of the way. He is not always wrong. That is the uncomfortable part. So why is Robert Downey Jr. wearing that mask? The honest answer is a production story, not a story about the character. Marvel spent years building toward a different villain, Kang the Conqueror, played by Jonathan Majors. Kang appeared at the end of Loki and again in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania in early 2023. The 5th Avengers film was announced as Avengers: The Kang Dynasty. Then Majors was arrested in March 2023, and in December 2023 he was convicted of harassment and reckless assault. Marvel cut ties with him the same day. The plan went in the bin. On July 27, 2024, at San Diego Comic-Con, Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige brought out a row of masked figures in green hoods. One of them removed the mask. It was Robert Downey Jr., the actor who had been Tony Stark for 11 years. and the film had a new title and a new villain in the same breath. Now, here is what Marvel has said about why Iron Man's actor is playing Dr. Doom. Nothing. Not a word on the record. Every explanation you have heard for it is a fan theory wearing a confident voice, and you are allowed to enjoy those theories as long as you know which ones they are. Here is what is confirmed. December 18th, 2026, the Russo brothers directing. 27 announced cast members and counting. Chris Evans returning as Steve Rogers. Haley Atwell returning as Peggy Carter, which Marvel confirmed on stage at Comic-Con in July 2026, without saying which Peggy she is. Theater scheduling has the film listed at 165 minutes, and a second film, Avengers Secret Wars, is already dated for December 17th, 2027. And here is what is not confirmed. No matter how many thumbnails insist otherwise, that Doom is a Tony Stark variant, that Steve Rogers staying in the past with Peggy is what killed Doom's universe, that Spider-Man or the Hulk appear at all. Tom Holland and Mark Ruffalo are not in the announced cast, and which X-Men reality those 7 actors are walking out of. And then there is a third tier, which is where most of the arguments happen. The Hollywood Reporter has reported that Ryan Reynolds will appear as Deadpool after Reynolds teased it himself online. And that same report says Wade Wilson does not join the Avengers. Notice what that is. It is a trade report, not a Marvel announcement, and Reynolds was not one of the 27 names read out from those chairs. Very likely. Not yet official. Hugh Jackman is a different case. In March 2026, James Marsden, who plays Cyclops and who was actually on that set, said Jackman was not in the film and that he was missed. Then at D23 in August, Jackman sent in a video begging Marvel for a part while Reynolds heckled him from off-camera. Was that a confirmation? It was a comedy bit built to be mistaken for one, and a great many videos took the bait. Marvel has still said nothing about Wolverine. 3 tiers then. What Marvel has announced, what the trades report, and what is a joke, a costume, and a rumor. That is the honest state of it in August 2026. So what should you actually watch? Not 41 hours. If you have one evening, watch these 4. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. For the mechanism, that is where incursions are named. The 2nd season of Loki, for who is physically holding the timelines together. Thunderbolts, for who currently answers to the word Avengers. And the Fantastic Four, First Steps, for the 2nd universe and for the moment Doom walks into a child's bedroom. Disney put X-Men and X2 at the top of its own list, and those 2 films are 26 and 23 years old. They are on the list because 5 of the faces in them are in this cast, not because there is a plot thread from 2000 you are expected to remember. All of it comes out of comics written by Jonathan Hickman between 2012 and 2015. In those books, the incursions are unstoppable. The universes die one by one, and when only 2 are left and everything ends, Victor Von Doom steals the power of the beings responsible and rebuilds all of existence as a single stitched-together planet called Battleworld, which he rules as a god. The movies will not do that exactly, and it is worth saying why that is fine rather than a betrayal. Hickman had 3 years of monthly issues and dozens of characters no film has introduced. A movie has 165 minutes. The Russos already compressed the Infinity Gauntlet comics and a decade of setup into 2 films, and the result was the highest-grossing story Marvel has ever told. Compression is not damage, it is the job. But if you want to know what Doom is actually reaching for, it is not conquest. It is the chair at the top of a universe he built himself. Disney's list is 41 hours long. The movie is 165 minutes, and everything you actually needed was one idea, 3 worlds, and 1 man in a metal mask. Follow for the next video. The child sitting in Doom's lap, and what Marvel's comics say that boy can really do.